Have you ever been a victim or wrongfully lost a job, been broken up with out of nowhere, or found yourself in a vicious cycle of not having enough money to survive? Disempowered people, those stuck in dissatisfying jobs, relationships, and situations, will point the finger outward to explain their circumstances. But empowered people point the finger inward, looking to themselves to take responsibility and change their situation. Hi, I'm Peter Montoya from ThriveUnion, and I'll be sharing our current thinking on absolute responsibility, why it's so radically transforming, how it empowers, and why it's necessary in order to thrive. Absolute responsibility is vastly different from ordinary responsibility. Responsibility is primarily about blame or shame, determining who is wrong, who should be punished, and who should be ostracized. The first aspect of absolute responsibility is taking ownership. Each individual is the owner of every situation in their life, without blame or shame. If your romantic partner leaves you, ownership says, regardless of who caused the breakup, this is the situation I'm now in. It's a focus from who's to blame to I'm responsible for my emotions, my actions, and my reactions going forward. I'm taking ownership for the pain, the disappointment, and the longing. It is completely healthy to realize when you've been wronged. If you've been harmed, it's right to recognize you aren't to be blamed, and there's nothing wrong with you. However, cementing victimhood as our identity makes us powerless to improve our circumstances. There is a huge difference between the label and the identity of being a victim. As a young boy, I was physically and emotionally abused by my mother, giving me post-traumatic stress disorder, which still affects me today. I will always carry the label of child abuse victim. Until my late 20s, I also carried the identity, the mindset of child abuse victim. My negative identity became a mental pothole, preventing me from growing. I used that identity to excuse my underperformance and dysfunctional relationships, until I worked hard in therapy to forgive my mother and truly own my situation. Once I did, I was empowered to make powerful changes in my life. Our sense of justice often drives us to continually ruminate about the actions of our wrongdoers, but this doesn't actually punish them. It punishes ourselves. Those who stay in victimhood suffer more anxiety, depression, and disappointment than those who tell themselves redemptive stories of taking responsibility, finding silver linings, and changing their lives for the better. Such people experience post-traumatic growth when faced with horrific circumstances. Viktor Frankl, a Jewish psychiatrist who endured 3 Nazi concentration camps during World War II, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." We can't always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose our reactions. When you accept total ownership of your situation without blame or shame, you allow yourself to be the absolute cause, creator, or controller of all events and circumstances in your life. Jocko Willink, a retired Navy SEAL famed for taking absolute responsibility during an operation in Iraq, confused chaos broke out with reports of enemy forces when there were none. Instead, friendly forces under his command began firing at each other, eventually killing a friendly Iraqi soldier and wounding several of his own men. Willink almost confirmed an airstrike on his own SEALs, but stopped short when he realized what was happening. It became clear that many people had made mistakes that had created the disaster, something which could have easily gotten Willink fired and sent home. But as Willink listened, he realized there was only one person who owned the situation: himself. He told his superiors and his men,
"There was only one person to blame, and that person was me. I am the commander, I am the senior man on the battlefield, and I am responsible for everything that happens. Everything."
His superiors were surprised by his level of responsibility and gave him another chance, which Willink used to vigorously train his men to make sure nothing like that ever happened again. Instead of being fired, he became a much more effective leader. His unit became stronger, and he took charge of his own destiny. He took absolute responsibility. When victims accept ownership, they transform into powerful advocates and leaders. Those who make mistakes can learn from them and create new lives. We can pull ourselves from our own suffering and create profound change, not only for ourselves, but for society. Like any significant change, this can best be accomplished by taking absolute responsibility. To be empowered is the ability to live life of your own design, and absolute responsibility is the gateway to empowerment. By taking absolute responsibility, we become truly empowered as we turn into the master creators of our own thriving lives.
ThriveUnion is a real-world community and life school dedicated to human well-being. Our regular events include parties, game nights, supper clubs, hikes, and Thrive meetings to build deep levels of intimacy, empower us to grow, and improve our world. Our life school provides educational videos, articles, conferences, and educational courses. Visit our website at thriveunion.org to learn more.